guys, Jeannine here with another Scream related video for you. So I have been doing reviews of all the Scream movies, and so now I'm here to review Scream 5. As you know, I was trying to kind of break down these movies very concisely in a ranking video of my best to worst Scream films, and I just wanted to say so much more. So I just decided to do individual review videos for each movie. So today we're talking Scream 5, a little breakdown of my thoughts, why I love it, things I didn't like, and a little bit of review of the film. So let's get into Scream 5. I was really excited for this movie, the cast, the fact that our legacy characters were coming back. Where were our killers going to be kind of in terms of the hierarchy of the killers we've gotten so far? Like, what was their motive going to be? How are they going to stack up amongst some great other killers that we've gotten? Where was the story going to go? What was going to be the commentary this time? So many things to get excited about with this new movie, and it did not disappoint. I was worried because, we weren't going to have Wes on this one, but after, seeing Ready or Not and absolutely loving it, I kind of was able to put my trust in these directors because Ready or Not was just so much fun. So I knew that they were going to do some really smart things with it. And the fact that Kevin Williamson was on board as like a producer, so he was kind of overseeing things because even he had a hard time like wanting to come back without Wes. So I appreciated the care that went into this movie. Like the directors wrote a really nice letter to Neve Campbell. So, there was a lot of effort to pay homage to Wes, to pay homage to the other films, to not really kind of tarnish any of those things. And I don't think this movie did that. I actually really enjoyed the opening. The parallels to our very first Scream opening I thought was really great. And Roger L. Jackson just so good with the voice acting, really being smooth and charming and really having some good conversation and then leaning into the terror. So I really loved kind of the evolution of what he was doing with his voice acting.
Yeah, but she says you love scary movies and that you guys have that in common. She's proud of making a fan out of you.
She is?
Yeah. She told me the other day, she wonders, what's your favorite scary movie? Would you like to play a game? Terra.
The fact that it was an attack and not a full-on kill, just so kind of, it modernizes it a little bit in that way. Also kind of the conversation of the types of horror movies that she's into and the terminology that she's using, very much kind of a commentary of how people kind of view horror today, and this elevated horror kind of idea of people kind of distinguishing horror in that way, and just kind of the evolution of horror and more modern horror films.
The Babadook. It's an amazing meditation on motherhood and grief.
Isn't that a little fancy pants?
Well, it's elevated horror.
What does that mean, elevated horror?
It's like scary, but with complex emotional and thematic underpinnings. It's not just some schlocky cheeseball nonsense with wall-to-wall jump scares.
So I found that to be really interesting, giving that commentary, because yeah, Scream is known for laying out a topical commentary in terms of horror movies. So doing that in this opening, I think, was perfect to what the franchise has always tried to do. So just overall, a solid opening for Scream 5. But yeah, solid opening, and then kind of the use of the newer technology. Like, obviously we have a little bit of kind of older technology with the landline, and then we're also using cell phones, and then we're also using kind of like these digital locks, and her kind of locking the door from her phone, only for Ghostface to have hijacked the system and unlocking the doors. And so the kind of terror of, did he get in, did he not get in?
Systems armed. All systems armed. All systems armed. Systems armed. All systems armed. Systems armed.
So So I love the build of the horror with that whole opening. But there were just some things in here that just didn't quite work for me. Like the Vince kill. Like, why introduce this character just to kill him off so quickly? You know, he's related to Stu, so you'd think that would be kind of an important thing. So let him last a little bit longer. Let him have a little bit more scenes. I think there was a scene where he's actually interacting with Dewey and that was cut. So, you know, just really kind of, I think, didn't work for them to introduce this character just to have him be killed right away. I didn't really like that. Just some character choices I think were a little weird to me. Liv, she was kind of a weird character, and I think they were trying to, like, you know, there were a lot of kind of weird efforts to make red herring characters that didn't just quite play very well. You know, I'm finding a lot of people didn't really like Melissa Barrera. I thought she was fine, while I think people like Jenna Ortega more just in general and kind of everything she's been doing right now. I think it's just kind of in comparison to Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera is not as strong of a character. So when you're kind of trying to think of somebody who's going to be our new Sydney, someone who's going to be the one we're going to follow throughout this franchise, I think people wanted a little bit more. I thought she did a great job, but I kind of also found myself wanting maybe a little bit more from her. I didn't hate the Billy thing. I thought that made sense. I mean, obviously there's like some de-aging and CGI stuff, but in my mind, of course, as a Scream fan, I'm just reconciling that by saying to myself, well, she doesn't know what Billy looks like in person. She only has seen this man in pictures. So, you know, she has to kind of paste this picture of what this man looked like together in her own mind. Billy giving her the nod, Billy kind of helping her out. That's the Billy in her head. This is not the real Billy Loomis. This is not the ghost of Billy Loomis. This is the Billy Loomis that she is seeing in her own head. So those things make sense to her. That's how she would see him because it's in her own head. So I was able to kind of reference that and reconcile that in my own mind when people were kind of criticizing that. And it was just also great to see Skeet come back in some way. Like, that was so cool.
Antipsychotics aren't working as well as they used to, are they?
Are you gonna run away from who you are like you always do, or are you gonna use it?
I'm not like you.
Because this is probably like the most iconic role that he's ever done. So to have him kind of come back in some weird way, I think was really, really cool. Loved the Meeks twins, you know, like the idea that, you know, Martha Meeks was getting her swirl on and she made some cute little swirly babies. So, you know, the twins I think were really great, and the fact that we kind of got a great Randy substitute, and seeing the Randy Memorial Theater, like, I loved that.
Like the new Halloween, Saw, Terminator, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, fuck, even Star Wars. Always goes back to the original.
You know, I'm not like entirely sure that you're not the killer. Look, I'm like almost 100% certain that you are not, but potential witnesses. Wow. That is a completely valid emotional response to have.
So yeah, I think the friend group really worked well. I think I liked the characters in the friend group. Liv was just kind of a weird character. I think they tried a little too hard to kind of make her seem suspicious, and then she just kind of was unnecessary. But I think they kind of reconciled that for themselves by commenting on her being very unnecessary. So I think they felt like, okay, well, you know, she's not really doing much, but if we actually make a joke about it, then we're being meta. I don't know that I completely loved the motivation. I think it definitely was topical to to toxic fandoms, and I like the line about how can a fandom be toxic if fandoms are about love. Like, I liked that kind of, like, Richie's really spitting facts here that, like, these hateful people in terms of these fandoms, it makes no sense. So I liked that commentary on toxic fandoms and kind of people just taking things way too far.
How can fandom be toxic? It's about love.
But is that a strong enough motivation to, like, kill these people?
Hollywood's totally fucking out of ideas, so we decided we'd give them some new source material to follow, you know? Bring it back to basics. Because that's how you make a great stab movie, Sam. Based on actual events.
Dewey had to die to make it real. To show that this wasn't just some bullshit, cash-in, run-of-the-mill sequel. Because our movie has fucking stakes!
And, like, Richie, they make them kind of like a couple. Like, did they need to make them a couple? Because she's, like, in high school. She's, like, presumably underage. And he's, like, in his 20-something. So why did they make it that they were dating? That was kind of weird.
We realized pretty quickly we had similar ideas.
That about cover it?
Nailed it, babe.
So their kind of motivations. Amber, I think, was a little bit too over the top. Like, she was trying to be a Stu, so it felt a little bit forced when she was kind of being, like, very erratic and like, it just felt like a little too much. Like, she was trying a little too hard to invoke Stu.
Can't have a bona fide Halloween without Jamie Lee.
Nope.
I can't believe I get to do you both. No one's gonna save this time. Your story's over.
So I don't know that I kind of bought it all the way. So in general, I like the commentary of their motive, but I don't know that the execution of it was all that well done. Amber just kind of, I think, fell apart in terms of her forced kind of craziness that she was trying to put on. So that kind of, you know, made the finale not as strong as I had wanted it to be. But I love Sydney just kind of going in there and her kind of thing. I'm not gonna live in a world where anything like this exists because I need to protect my family and my children. So I'm not leaving until this fool is dead. And the fact that she's always been this Sydney charging into these situations, you know, the fact that she's just like, I'm gonna shoot first and ask questions later. Like, I love that that is our Sydney. That's the Sydney we have now. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she's still kind of running into the fire to help whoever she can.
Anyone hiding, killer or not, you have 5 seconds to show yourself.
You might actually be the most derivative one of all. I mean, Christ, the same
Happy so, but you forgot the first rule of surviving a stab movie. Never answer the...
I'm bored.
Wait!
Just love the characterization of Sydney in this movie and love seeing them together. And I love the boldness. While it broke my heart to a million pieces, I love the boldness of taking out Dewey. Like, one of our legacy casts had to bite the bullet, and so it made the most sense, I think, that it was Dewey, but very heartbreaking. So yes, definitely really sad to lose Dewey, but I think it made sense to the story, and I like the bold choice of actually, you know, having the balls to do that. It takes a man to do something like that, but it was actually a woman because it was Amber. I will say I wished they revealed the history of Dewey and Gail's kind of falling apart of the relationship a little smoother. It did feel a little bit exposition-y. So I wish there was like a more organic way that they could have had that conversation, but it felt very much like, okay, we have to tell everybody what happened.
Let's not pretend I'm the one who ended things.
No one's pretending, Gail. I remember what happened. I made my choices, so did you.
It was my turn. It was a great opportunity. You said you'd try.
And I did.
For 2 whole months.
Listen, if you want to make me feel worse than I already do, good luck.
And why we're not together, and that's kind of what it felt like. So I wanted it to be a little bit more smooth, that kind of interaction, but there was still a lot of emotion between the two of them that I loved in that scene. Something I also wish we got in Scream 5 were more chase scenes. We didn't really get very many, and a lot of the Scream films are known for some really solid chase scenes. So we kind of have similar formulas happening. You know, once we kind of get to our finale, we get tons of good chases and then kind of a big physical fight between Sydney and our killer or killers. So the fact that we didn't really get any good chases in this one was kind of a bummer, especially because it's done so much to kind of be nostalgic about the franchise as a whole. So for it to kind of not do something that most of the movies really focused in on was a little bit of a letdown. Oh yes, I think Scream 5 got a lot of things right, especially, you know, having to fill the shoes of Wes, having to kind of come back to this so many years later, having to kind of introduce new characters and make them topical and interesting and likable, having to kind of bring our legacy cast and mesh them together. This movie had quite a bit of a feat to kind of meet, and I think they did it, and this movie had a really some really great moments that I enjoyed very much. So really do love Scream 5. Thank you so much for checking out this video, my review of Scream 5. Let me know what you love about Scream 5 in the comments below. Also, like, share, subscribe, do all of the things, hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I post another fun Scream video or any new content coming to the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. And again, thank you for hanging out with me and talking Scream. I absolutely love this franchise. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.